hii Kenya kipenzi chetu hatutaiacha kamwe daima. Wanakwaya ndivyo wanatueleza, na tukumbuke pia nchi yangu jukumu langu, mimi ni shujaa. My country, my responsibility, I am a hero. DJ, wimbo wa shujaa.
Simama Wakenya wote, simama, simama wewe shujaa, simama.
Ukacheza, unaweza kuungana nao na tukaimba kwa pamoja.
Simama Wakenya wote, simama, simama wewe shujaa, simama.
Kenya yetu ni beautiful, mazingira mazuri, colorful. Kwa Kenya ni watu wonderful, proud to be Kenyan and grateful. Moto wetu ndio nguvu yetu, ni nguvu yetu. Tuheshimu marafiki wa nchi yetu,
amani yetu.
tunapambana sana kuitenga jamii, iwe ni jua kali hatujali. Kenya ni nyumbani na sihami.
Bidii yangu, jukumu langu, naitenga nchi yangu. Hatuchagui kazi, kazi ni kazi. Boda boda, vijana mitaani.
Kenya yetu ya amani na umoja, upendo, hakuna lingine. Acha Mungu atulinde, atuzingira, tuhifadhi milele.
Nchi yangu, jukumu langu, mimi ni shujaa, shujaa. Najivunia taifa langu, mimi ni shujaa, shujaa. Simama Wakenya wote, simama, simama wewe shujaa, simama, simama Wakenya wote, simama, simama wewe shujaa, simama.
Ukabila ni mbaya, ndo maana naupinga. Shujaa namba moja, nchi yangu nailinda. Napenda amani, upendo na haki. Natoka kwa giza, twaishi kwa mwanga. Wanamuziki ni shujaa, walimu wote ni shujaa, madaktari ni shujaa, na wachimba migodi ni shujaa, wavuvi nao ni shujaa, wanariadha ni shujaa, wachezaji wote ni shujaa, kibambambambam ni shujaa, wewe dereva ni shujaa, na boda boda ni shujaa, kama maboga ni shujaa, askari nao ni shujaa, ni shujaa, ni shujaa, wanafanya bidii ni shujaa, wanabiashara ni shujaa, shujaa.
Nchi yangu, jukumu langu, mimi ni shujaa.
Tumkaribishe Mheshimiwa Rais kwa makofi. Sote tusimame, tumkaribishe Mheshimiwa Rais.
Simama Wakenya wote, simama.
Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Rais.
Wewe shujaa, simama. Simama Wakenya wote, simama. Simama wewe shujaa, simama.
Mheshimiwa Rais, na niombe sasa sote kwa pamoja tuimbe wimbo wa taifa wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na wimbo wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Tukiwa tumesimama hivyo kwa hali ya utulivu, tutaongozwa kwa maombi na Sheikh Yusuf Maki, kiongozi wa masuala ya kidini SUPKEM Nairobi, na Askofu Mkuu Jackson Ole Sapit wa kanisa la Kianglikana.
Let's pray. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. We thank and praise you, Lord, the sustainer, the cherisher. We thank you for guiding us to this day and time. Ya Allah, today we put into your hands this noble journey of reforms and transformation of our nation. We pray that you guide us to what is best in this document, and may it be the reason for our country to unite and remain cohesive. Lord, forgive us our errors, and we also ask you, dear Lord, to overlook our humanly shortcomings. Ya Allah, we ask you to be pleased with what we do today, with what we do tomorrow, and with what we do every day. Lord, as we read this document for ourselves, we ask for your guidance. We ask for your patience, and we also ask for your tolerance. Help the common citizens of this country. Help them to objectively understand its contents. Dear God, we pray for your support to our leaders, and especially to our President. May you continue giving him wisdom so that he can continue leading us cohesively. May you guide him to lead us into a cohesive, a healthy, and a prosperous nation. We pray, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Amen.
Bishop.
Heavenly Father, we are gathered here as a nation and as a people who have every reason to say thank you, Lord. For this far you have brought us as independent Kenya, managing the affairs of this nation the best way we can. We are also conscious that we are not devoid of challenges and moments where we have to reimagine ourselves and rethink again. And today presents such an opportunity when we are gathered here to reimagine how we are going to govern and rule ourselves and continue to ensure that resources are well distributed to every corner of this country, and all of us shall be able to enjoy a nation which we can say we are proud to be a part of. So Lord, as we come through this conversation, talking about our national ethos, the way in which we can be able to protect ourselves and live harmoniously every corner of this nation, Lord, we want to thank you. Give us this moment as a moment of imagining a new nation, a nation that is going to prosper the weak and the strong, a nation for us all. So Lord, may you guide us, led by our President and all those who are gathered here today, and particularly the team that has been working on this document, that we can all have the clarity that we require so that we make informed decision after looking at it in depth. Lord, guide us as we begin this conversation, going forward as a nation. Give us the best opportunity to live in peace and in harmony. This is our prayer. In the name of God the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mabibi na mabwana, tafadhali na tuketi. Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Amiri Jeshi Mkuu wa Majeshi ya Ulinzi, Naibu wa Rais Mheshimiwa Daktari William Ruto, Spika wa Bunge la Kitaifa na Bunge la Senate, Jaji Mkuu na Rais wa Mahakama ya Juu, aliyekuwa Waziri Mkuu Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, mabalozi na maafisa wakuu wa kidiplomasia, wananchi wa Jamhuri tupadayo, mabibi na mabwana. Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba ruhusa yako niweze kumwita mwimbaji Rafton atuletee wimbo Mungu Baba Twaomba kwa dakika 2. Rafton, asante. Karibu.
Asante. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Wakenya mpo? Rais na pia Prime Minister na naibu wa rais, nasema ni asante, na ningeomba tafadhali tusimame tukiimba Mungu Baba Twaomba. Tuko tayari? Mungu Baba Twaomba. Father God, I thank you. Father God, I bless you. For there is no God like you. Haya, tuimbe ni kama tunataka Kenya iwe na umoja. Mungu Baba Twaomba. Everyone, listen, gonna listen, listen.
Asante sana Rafton, asante sana usote na tuketi. Kwa kweli Mungu Baba twaomba uilinde nchi yetu, tuishi kwa upendo. Kwa heshima Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba tuelekeze macho yetu kwenye runinga kwa makala mafupi yafuatayo.
mmesikia raundi tunafaidika kibiashara.
Wewe na hiyo udaku yako umesikia wapi?
Hata usiongee ripoti kwa BBI.
Wacha hata sisi wa mama raundi tufaidike. Tumeteseka sana. Jisome.
Buda, wewe BBI ni nini?
Vijana sitambui.
Na constitution
sitambui kitu ni masosa hao wanasiasa. Wataka sijui wajiongezee mavyeo, madoa wajiongezee.
bila watu BBI ni bora bidii endelee.
Hiyo ni bidii yetu tukiga yetu saidia hapa.
Wachana na story yao wasi. Jisome.
Jisome. Jisome.
Jisome. Jisome. Jisome.
We, jisome.
Usitegemee unachosikia. Jisome. BBI report itatekeleza mikakati ya kuboresha maisha ya Wakenya wote.
Jisome.
Wanawake hata vijana wajisome.
Amjui. Na mmesikia raundi tunafaidika kibiashara.
Wewe na hiyo udaku yako umesikia wapi?
Hata usiongee ripoti kwa BBI.
Wacha hata sisi wa mama raundi tufaidike. Tumeteseka sana. Jisome.
Buda, wewe BBI ni nini?
Vijana sitambui.
Na constitution
sitambui kitu ni masosa hao wanasiasa. Wataka sijui wajiongezee mavyeo, madoa wajiongezee.
bila watu BBI ni bora bidii endelee.
Hiyo ni bidii yetu tukiga yetu saidia hapa.
Wachana na story yao wasi. Jisome.
Jisome. Jisome.
Jisome. Jisome. Jisome.
We, jisome.
Usitegemee unachosikia. Jisome. BBI report itatekeleza mikakati ya kuboresha maisha ya Wakenya wote.
Jisomee, na kwa kweli hata mimi nitajisomea. Kwa heshima Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba uniruhusu nimwalike naibu mwenyekiti wa kamati ya utendaji ya BBI, Professor Adams Olo, aseme kwa kifupi. Professor, karibu. Your Excellency, the President, the Deputy President, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, all protocols observed. Your Excellency, it's been more than 2 years since you and the Right Honorable Prime Minister unveiled the Building Bridges Initiative. And today, just like last week, that baby is born. That baby is alive and kicking. That baby's parents are okay. Your Excellency, let me just ask the task force members, steering committee, who became steering committee members, to just stand where they are so that the congregation acknowledges them. They are together with the joint secretaries there. Your Excellency, we also did work with a team of experts. Wherever they are, some of them will be presenting. Let them also just stand up so that the congregation acknowledges. Your Excellency, we also had a very youthful and vibrant secretariat that worked with us throughout. If they can also just stand up wherever they are so that the congregation can acknowledge. Your Excellency, more than 2 years ago, when the task force was put in place, through a gazette notice, we went about our task and we went to all the 47 counties. In our going to those 47 counties, we ensured that all the 290 constituencies were represented in the deliberations. As we went to those 47 counties, we also ensured that the different cleavages within the society appeared before us. This included the youth, women, persons living with disabilities, the elderly, the civil society, religious groups, and the political class. Other than going to the 47 counties, we also had what we called KICC stakeholder meetings. In those KICC stakeholder meetings, we had representatives from all the arms of government appearing before us. The executive component appeared, the judiciary component appeared, the parliament component appeared. In addition, constitutional commissions appeared. Trade unions appeared, whether COTU, NAD, the health sector. We also had civil society groups appear. We had experts appearing. And in addition to that, Your Excellency, we received written memorandums either by email or physically before our secretary. Your Excellency, when we thought we were going home in November, you again found it fit to invite us now as a steering committee to the implementation of the Building Bridges Task Force report. So we became a steering committee. And the mandate this time round was to do a validation process. That validation process undertook a route in which the task force report became a baseline for conducting that validation. And throughout again, Your Excellency, the same groups, in addition to those who had not appeared before us, came and validated the report. The validation process was multifaceted. We had, again, KICC and LICO meetings in which stakeholders came and gave their views on that November report. We had regional meetings which were preceded by stakeholder meetings or delegates of particular regions. And during the political gathering in all those regions, a memorandum was given to us arising from the delegates' presentations. That happened in all the regions, but Your Excellency will recall that we had divided Rift Valley into two. Narok had already taken place, but as we prepared for Nakuru, COVID struck. Your Excellency, I can confirm to you, and if the governors from the Rift Valley are present here, they'll confirm to you that the Nakuru meeting that did not take place, we still gave them an opportunity, and as individual governors from the Rift Valley, they brought their memorandums to us. What I'm trying to say, Your Excellency, is that this was a very participatory process. In addition to the regional meetings, we had stakeholders inviting us and asking us to send experts all over the country to go and listen to their views, which we did in town hall meetings through our experts. We also, again during this stage, Your Excellency, as is reflected in our report, received memorandums via email and physically. Your Excellency, great nations usually look in the mirror when they are at war with themselves. Your Excellency, in your wisdom and the Prime Minister, you say that this country had been at war with itself, and that this was a critical juncture that the country needed to soul search in order to once and for all weave a national fabric that will be there for generations to come. Your Excellency, our report is multifaceted. We have a constitutional section, we have a statutory legislative section, we have a policy guide section, and we have an administrative section. Your Excellency, there are those who have always said that implement. We have done that by providing those administrative actions that need to be taken. As I finalize, Your Excellency, our report has both the hardware and the software. Part of our challenge is also our attitudes and behavior as a people. If, as the Archbishop of the Anglican Church said, we can build on our national ethos as a country and seek this opportunity as an avenue for a national conversation where we are talking with each other, but not at each other, Kenya shall be the better. God bless Kenya. Thank you.
Asante sana Profesa. Kwa heshima Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba unikubalie nimwalike wakili Tom Macharia na mtaalamu wa masuala ya uongozi Bwana Pandi Onyango watueleze kwa kifupi yale yaliyomo kwenye hii report. Wakili.
Your Excellency the President, Your Excellency the Deputy President, Your Excellency the Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen. The steering committee heard from Kenyans that no nation can prosper or thrive without a binding set of values which they called national ethos. And therefore they recommend to you, Kenyans, a philosophy which they called Utu, which is an emphasis on our common humanity in nation building rather than the common enemy identity politics that have sometimes divided us over the last 5 years. They have provided you with a set of policy doctrines and guides that you're to discuss as a basis for future policy formulation in this country. They've also included in the bill, in the proposed constitutional bill, an article on responsibilities that every Kenyan can look to cultivate national unity on the basis of respecting Kenya's ethnic, intellectual, economic, and cultural diversity. They request and recommend to you that we orient our education system to train us for value creation rather than value extraction. On the question of devolution, economic issues, our war on poverty and shared prosperity, they came up with a concept they called the No Kenyan Left Behind. And here's what they have for Kenyans. A constitutional authority for shared prosperity, which is captured in an article on the economy, which is to be implemented together with many legislative measures, and which they came up with a concept called Biashara Mashinani. One of those things they intend to do, or they recommend to you, is increase the county shareable revenue from 15%, the minimum, to 35%. They recommend the creation of a ward fund where 5% of all county revenue will be paid into. The fund will require public participation in project identification and implementation. They recommend a statute known as the Prompt Payment Bill for the payment of invoices for the supply of services and goods to government, where invoices should be paid within a period of 60 days and a tribunal to resolve any disputes as regards outstanding payments. They recommend a one-stop shop, incubation shops and centers all over the country, beginning initially with the counties and going to the wards, where everybody who has a micro enterprise, a member of the youth, women, will be able to obtain contracts under AGPO, capital under Youth Enterprise Fund and the Women Fund, counseling in the form of information and support and prosperity for all small businesses. For the youth who leave colleges and even for those in universities, they recommend a 4-year moratorium once you leave college on higher education loans board loans. They recommend, again for the youth and for some of the older ones as well, state responsibility for infrastructure that supports the digital economy so that we can sell farm produce and cottage industries right from our villages digitally. They recommend for county that the resources be allocated on their progress in eradicating wastage and corruption and attaining Article 43 rights. These are your rights to health, your rights to housing, your rights to food security, education, and social security. The more you use money, the more money you get. They recommend that the President once a year during the State of the Nation address indicates to the country what steps the nation has taken to implement the rights on health, housing, food, education, and social security. The steering committee recommends the simplification of tax laws and broadening the tax base so that taxation policy encourages rather than suppresses business. They encourage closer commitment to our East African community and project and trading partners, which they see as integral to our prosperity. They recommend that among the governors, that if the governor is male, then he should or she should consider a member of the opposite sex for their running mate. They also recommend that deputy governors be given a specific portfolio so that they have a desk and work to do. In the interest of time, I move to the question of ensure that no more than 35% of a national or county government's revenue is used on salaries, benefits, and allowances. They recommend reforming of the IBC, our electoral system, to ensure credible, free, and fair elections. As to the question of gender parity, there are many recommendations, but one of the most prominent ones is full gender parity in the Senate, 47 men and 47 women. In the interest of harmony, in the interest of inclusivity, they recommend the creation of the position of the leader of the official opposition, who is to hold the government of the day accountable. They recommend that the President shall now share power with the Prime Minister and 2 Deputy Prime Ministers. They recommend that the office of Cabinet Secretary be renamed to Cabinet Minister and that the President be able to appoint some of those from the National Assembly. They recommend some changes to the judiciary, including the introduction of the Office of the Judiciary Ombudsman, who shall sit on the Judicial Service Commission so that Kenyans have somewhere to take their complaints if they have any. The steering committee recommends the creation of a youth commission that will champion all youth issues in the country. The steering committee recommends the creation of a health commission under statute to look into questions of health professionals and to help harmonize standards of service in the counties and in the nation. There are many, many more provisions that you should read from the report. You have had to read for yourself. And the steering committee humbly submits their report. And submits in accordance with its mandate that you can see reflected back at you your stories, your desires, your frustrations, which they have attempted to turn into instruments of change. Thank you very much for the privilege of your attention.
Asante sana wakili, na sasa nitamwalika mtaalamu wa masuala ya uongozi Bwana Padi Onyango aendelee kutufafanulia yale yaliyomo kwenye ripoti ya BBI. Padi Onyango.
Your Excellency the President, Your Excellency the Deputy President, Your Excellency the Right Honorable Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am representing one of the committees that worked on legislation that needs to be changed so that the recommendations of the steering committee can be implemented. There are many legislation that we looked at, but I will only mention a few in the interest of time. But firstly, I'll give preference to special legislation that needs to be given, that we have recommended should be given priority as we move on. The first one is the Persons with Disabilities Act, which has taken 11 years to try and repeal. Your Excellency, we are happy that on the 14th of August 2018, your cabinet in the third meeting adopted a resolution calling for the repeal of the 2003 Persons with Disabilities Act. Secondly, under the special category, we have the Kenya Sign Language Bill, which takes care of the deaf, that should be also fast-tracked. Under the special category, and finally, Your Excellency, on 26th of March 2015, in your State of the Nation address, you offered apologies to Kenyans for the historical injustices suffered, and you directed the Treasury to establish a fund called Restorative Justice Fund. In recognition of that, and to give effect to that directive, we have proposed the enactment of a legislation known as Reparative and Restorative Justice Bill, which then will be considered by Parliament. The essence of this is that all historical injustices as covered in the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission will be implemented within a time frame. And you know some of these injustices include the Wagala massacre, for example, extrajudicial killings, people have been assassinated over time. Now the committee has recommended that these be given priority. On the other legislation, which are facilitative of the recommendations that are contained in the constitutional proposals, which my colleague Tom has presented, I will start with the elections laws. There are many of them. One is the IBC Act. The IBC Amendment Bill seeks to reform the IBC. First, to give it strength and independence from any interference. Two, to make it possible for inclusion, for example, when the time for recruiting commissioners and officials, the persons with disability, for example, are taken into account in terms of Article 554(2) of the Constitution. In reforming the Constitution, we are all aware that there is a vacancy at the moment. We only have 3 commissioners. We should have 7, and that was the recommendation of the committee has given. In this regard, a process has been recommended where the existing commissioners will be vetted afresh, as is the case with other vettings that we have had in the past, and then those suitable will continue in office. we are saying that there will be a panel to do that vetting and appointment. So the recommendation is that the 4 vacancies that are there should be filled in the next 6 months. That is the recommendation that has been given. On the Political Parties Act, the political parties have been obligated, when they're doing party primaries, to take care of the interests of marginalized youth, women, persons with disability. And in case of persons with disabilities, there is a recommendation that persons with disability who are members of political parties form an electoral college within the party so that they elect one of their own rather than being given someone to represent them. And then we have made a recommendation under the Political Parties Act whether we have proposed that all disputes arising out of a nomination during the political campaign or primaries should be resolved by the party, within the party. And therefore, anybody going to the political parties dispute tribunal must show that they have exhausted internal party mechanism before they can be allowed to move the tribunal. And that applies also to petitions. On Election Offences Act, we have made stringent measures, we have recommended measures that any person causing violence be barred from taking part in succeeding elections for 5 years. And again, it has been recommended that where violence is meted against women candidates, that violence will be an aggravating factor. So, for example, if you happen to assault a woman outside the election period, then that will be common assault. But if you assault a woman within the election period, then you will be given a higher penalty or sentence than in ordinary circumstances. On election campaign financing, there is a requirement, it is recommended that candidates campaigning or seeking state office should declare the sources of their funds. The idea is to save the sovereignty of the country and to ensure that we have the right people in leadership to do the right thing. I now come to there are others, but now we'll go to the police. We are recommending that IPOA be elevated to the status of a commission, a Chapter 15 commission, for purposes of oversight and ensuring that there is discipline in the police force, so that issues of extrajudicial killings associated with the police should be a thing of the past. I have just seen Baby Pendo is here, the parents of Baby Pendo is here. That is something which should be a thing of the past in our existence. I don't want to go further. There are others my colleagues have mentioned, and I would like to leave it there for now. Read the legislation, read the administrative function. Yeah.
Asante sana Padi Onyango na asante sana wakili. Na baada ya kuwasikiliza wataalamu, naomba sasa utukubalie Mheshimiwa Rais tuwape nafasi wananchi wachache na viongozi wachache waweze kutoa maoni yao. And I wish to most humbly and with utmost humility request all the speakers to observe time strictly as we agreed, and to also respect the program as set, so that when we invite you, it's only you and you won't invite somebody else to speak. Most kindly. Na kwa sasa Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba uniruhusu nimwite Mama Pendo, Baba Pendo na Joseph Maina Kawe wazungumze kwa kifupi. Mama Pendo, karibu.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mabibi na mabwana, habari ya asubuhi. Kwa majina naitwa Lensa Chieng, mimi ndio mamake Pendo, na kama familia ya Pendo si tumekuja kuhubiri amani ili tusonge mbele. Sitaki kusema mengi, mmejua chenye ilifanyika wakati uchaguzi mwezi wa 8 2017. A flower was uprooted from my garden and it can never be replaced. I can be given another person but not the same person like Pendo. Kwa wanasiasa, sisi wana Kenya, mkikuja kwetu muuze siara zenyu, tupige debe. Wale wenye tujashinda tukubaliane na mwenye ameshinda, tusongeshe Kenya yetu mbele. Na mnapokuja kwetu, mchunge chenye inatoka kwa ulimi yenu. Msifanye sisi youth tupigane na nyinyi mnaendelea mbele. Wewe sema tu yako yenye uko nayo, tukubaliane nayo, vile BBI tujisomee. Nikikubali nipige tick, nikikataa nipige X. Tusongeshe Kenya mbele. Na nawaomba wanasiasa, ikuwe mwisho kwa kitu ilitendeka 2017. Mwanamke yote asilie mtoto wake, na familia yoyote isilie mtu wake. Msituache sisi victim tubaki na pain and agony while you move on. Wakati yenye tumepata msiba, kuja kwetu uangalie how are those victims faring on, and let the nation move on. President Uhuru Kenyatta, I've never seen you face to face, but I know you are a cheerful person, and I was happy when Honorable Raila came and shake hand so that we can move the country forward. Ndio maana nasemanga mwanamke anakuanga gangari. Mwanamke unzampiga, mwanaume anzapiga mwanamke afure uso. Akiamka asubuhi jirani amuulize nini nilikufanya, atasema liteleza, na atacheka ili asitoe hiyo uchi wake. Ikuwe hivyo, tusitoe uchi wetu, tukue kama mwanamke gangari. Asante.
Asante sana Mama Pendo, asante sana. Niombe sasa umshike mtoto Baba Pendo, naye aweze kuja kusema kwa kifupi. Baba Pendo, karibu.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mabibi na mabwana, amjambo? Mko salama? Mimi kwa majina naitwa Joseph Abanja, mimi ndio babake Pendo. So imekuwa hivyo, ikafanyika, but lazima nchi endelee mbele. Ya kwanza nataka kupongeza Rais na Mheshimiwa Raila kwa kuleta handshake, juu wenye walileta handshake, dunia ilikuwa na amani. So the only thing nataka kusema saa hii, jameni ni Wakenya. Wakenya tuko watu wazuri. Tusidanganyane hapa ati siasa hivi ikifika saa ya nini matusi pale mtu anakuja na kumalizia hasira na huko kwa hapo. So ituweke tu kama like I say like a football pitch. Patana Gor Mahia na FC, Gor Mahia imepiga FC imepiga Gor Mahia, maisha yanaendelea mbele. Hakuna mtu anauliwa. Ndio. So tukishakuwa hivyo Kenya itaendelea mbele na Kenya itasonga mbele. But ningependa kuomba Rais Uhuru Kenyatta kwamba wenye mmeshikiliana na Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, msiachane mkono jamani. Msiachane mkono jamani. Msonge mbele na BBI. Wenye nimesikia kwa uchache tu, pia nilipewa nimesoma kidogo tu. Naona ni kitu tutaleta mabadiliko kwa maisha yetu. So tupige debe BBI, tusonge mbele, tusiuane, tusimwagi damu tena. Wacha damu ya mwanangu ndiko ya mwisho kuwatika election kumwagika tena. Wacha damu ya mwanangu ndiko ya mwisho. Kwa hiyo machache tu nasema asante na Mheshimiwa Rais, kumbuka familia ya Bibi Pendo. Msituache hivyo sana bwana. Mmetuacha tunateseka bwana. Asanteni.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mabibi na mabwana, majina yangu naitwa Joseph Maina Kawe kutoka kaunti ya Nakuru katika sub-county ya Molo. Nimesimama hapa kwa sababu mimi ni mmoja wa wale ambao wameathirika sana na vita vya baada ya uchaguzi ambao ilianza kunisumbua nikiwa miaka 13 na hadi siku hii ya leo niko mjini Molo nikikodesha nyumba na kwetu nina kwetu ambako ni kule 1992 kulitokea vita, na wakati huo mwajua ya kwamba mtoto wa miaka 13 hawezi akapiga kura, hana kitambulisho. Siwezi kujua ni mambo gani yaliyonipata ili niweze kuomba kwetu, nyumba zikachomwa, ng'ombe zetu zikaibiwa na mambo mengi yakafuatilia. Tukafika mjini Molo, baada ya kipindi tena tulirudi na kukawa na amani. Tukarudi mwaka wa 1997, yale maneno yakajirudia, na ikawa ya kwamba tena kile kidogo ambacho tulikuwa tumeleta pamoja na mama yetu mjane, ikawa ya kwamba tena kimeharibika, sio kwa sababu ya jambo lingine, ni kwa sababu ya matukio ya baada ya siasa. Mwaka wa 2003 ikawa hivyo, mwaka wa 2005 wakati wa wako draft ikarudia hivyo, na mwaka wa 2008 ikawa ndio ilikuwa mbaya kuliko zote. Ombi langu siku hii ya leo ni ya kwamba jameni, ninavyosikia kama vile nimesikia ikielezwa, kama vile nimeiangalia, nimekuwa nikiuliza tiba itatoka wapi? Tiba ambayo inaweza ponya taifa letu mara moja na mwisho. Kwa sababu kuna wakati tulidhania ya kwamba kwa sababu ya kupata kiongozi wa kabila letu tutapata amani, lakini pia hata wakati tulipata hivyo amani hatukuipata. Jameni, ninaposoma dokumenti hii na kama ndio itakuwa tiba, ombi langu ni hili: nisaidieni, kwa sababu siku hii ya leo mama yetu alisukumwa na hata leo yuko kaburini baada ya depression nyingi. Na mimi naomba ya kwamba kama kuna kitu ambacho singetaka watoto wangu wakione na vizazi vya baadaye, ni yale mambo ambayo nimeyapitia. Mungu awabariki na Mungu abariki taifa la Kenya.
Nitamwalika sasa Mheshimiwa Kate Waruguru na Alex Matere waongee kwa niaba ya vijana. Mheshimiwa.
BBI, unaniambia Kenya moja. BBI. BBI. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, on this historic day, katika ukumbi wa Bomas, on a day when you are born and you are celebrating your birthday. Happy birthday, Your Excellency. Mimi nitasema tu machache kuhusu maneno ya vijana. Sisi kama vijana tumechoka kila baada ya miaka 5. Vijana wanatumika kufanya kampeni ikikwisha maneno yao inakuishia pale. Kando na hiyo uchafuzi ambao huwa unatokea, biashara za sisi kama vijana zinaharibika. And we want to thank the handshake, the President and Right Honorable Raila Odinga for inviting us on this occasion to have a national dialogue and a national conversations, because there is no country without us as young people in this Republic of Kenya. Mheshimiwa Rais, wewe unakaa kama Nehemia. Umekubali kutuita sisi kama Wakenya tujadiliane na tuongee juu ya kuta ambazo zimeanguka. Tunakuomba ufunge masikio yako mkiwa na Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga na viongozi ambayo kwa midomo yao na vinywa vyao wanasema wanataka kuona Kenya ikiendelea mbele. Conversation ya BBI lazima ikuwe ni conversation ya patriotism and not a conversation of 2022 politics or 2027 politics. We want to see sisi kama wamama, vijana wetu wakimaliza standard 8 ama form 4, the government will be taking care of our youth as opposed to us investing in individuals ambao wanakuambia tutakuweka ndani ya serikali ijayo. Sisi tunataka haki yetu ilindwe na serikali ndani ya katiba, ndani ya BBI. Tunaomoka kwa katiba na sio kuomoka kwa biashara ya kutengwa. Kwa hayo mengi na machache, naomba Mungu awabariki.
Your Excellency the President, Your Excellency the Deputy President, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, it is with profound humility that I stand before you today representing the more than 39 million young people of our country. Your Excellency, it is the former President of the United States, J.F. Kennedy, who said that the future prospects of a nation can be directly measured by the kind of investment that its leadership bestow on the young people. And as I stand here today, I know when the introduction was being done that the head of Secretariat of the BBI task force together with the Secretariat are actually young people. That it was actually very inconceivable that a young person from the western region, Trans Nzoia County for instance, can have the opportunity of standing and addressing such a gathering in Kenya today. If that is anything to go by, then the future of Kenya is indeed luminous. Your Excellency, first allow me to join the other speakers in congratulating you and the Right Honorable Prime Minister for the magnanimity introducing the handshake that has given votes to the BBI. One thing that I'm sure of is that when the history of our nation will be written, your names will be written in the golden pages of that book. Your Excellency, allow me secondly to appreciate the task force because they went round and they collected the views and aspirations of the young people, and I can confidently report to you today that the views, the aspirations and the perspective of the young people are in the document as we speak. In the annexure of that document, the task force recognizes the youth as a special segment upon which the foundation of a peaceful, cohesive and prosperous nation will be built on. Secondly, Your Excellency, the youth of our country have been feeling that they have been left out. And we have a common cliche that if you're not on the table, then you're on the menu. And the youth of this country have been on the menu for far too long. At this particular moment, when we are launching the BBI report, I'm happy and elated as any other youth from this country that the report gives us a table on the seat by introducing a youth commission that will ensure our issues are mainstreamed and that we have serious engagement with government and other non-state actors. Secondly, we have a problem and a very great challenge in terms of unemployment and unemployment of the young people. The report faces it in 3 phases. That one, we have TVETs that are able to train our people with skills and so that they can be able to develop our country. And secondly, we have the Biashara Mashinani that is also part and parcel of the document. And thirdly, we have business incubation centers that are going to the ward level. With all this together, merged together, you can be rest assured that the young people at Mashinani are going to change their prospects and also the prospects of this country. In the language of Mashinani, I can tell you, Your Excellency, vijana wanasema ya kwamba mbogi za mtaa zinaenda kuomoka na BBI. Lastly, Your Excellency, as we celebrate the gains that are going to come with BBI, we should also be wary of the political class. And as the youth of this country, we've experienced the politicians who have mastered the art of conning, conniving, confusing, and taking advantage of our youth and cutting corners with their future. We are here today to give them notice. We've seen some of them who are parading inventions that happened during the 16th century of a one-wheel machine. And we are telling them this morning that the 16th century inventions cannot be used to solve the challenges of the 21st century. Because reggae is back, Your Excellency. Because reggae is back, allow me to quote Bob Marley. And he sang and said that you can lie to some people sometimes, you can lie to some people all the time, but you cannot lie to all the people all the time. In conclusion, Your Excellency, Martin Luther King said that all of us, and I paraphrase, that all of us must endeavor to fly. But if we cannot fly, then we run. And if we cannot run, then we walk. And if we cannot walk, then we crawl. The message of the young people today is that they will going to fly with you, that they are going to run with you, that they are going to walk with you. And if circumstances force us, then we are going to crawl with you to ensure that your legacy is secured and delivered, and also that the prospects of the BBI are united. Thank you very much.
Asante.
Mheshimiwa Rais wa Taifa la Kenya, Mheshimiwa Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, Naibu wa Rais, Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga, itifaki zote zikizingatiwa, mabibi na mabwana, Kenya hoye! Waswahili wanasema hayawi huwa. Leo tumefikia siku mwafaka, siku muhimu ambayo tunazindua ripoti ya BBI, ripoti ambayo ilikuwa inazungumzia kujenga madaraja ya kuleta amani katika taifa letu la Kenya, madaraja ya kujenga umoja katika taifa letu la Kenya, madaraja ya kuleta ufanisi wa maendeleo katika nyanjani. Kwa niaba ya kina mama wenzangu viongozi na kina mama wa Kenya, sisi tunaunga mkono ripoti hii kwa sababu imeangazia haki za kimsingi za kina mama. Tukiangalia, Mheshimiwa Rais, BBI imezungumzia ya kwamba katika nafasi ya ugavana, gavana akiwa mwanamke, naibu wake atakuwa mwanamume. Hivyo basi, jambo hili litaweza kutupatia ngazi sisi kama kina mama wa taifa la Kenya tuweze kupata hatua ya kuingia katika uongozi wa ugavana katika kaunti zetu. Vile vile katika seneta, sasa hivi tulikuwa tuna masenesa wateuliwa 16 na wale watatu tu wachache waliochaguliwa. Lakini sasa tutapata sauti ya kina mama waliochaguliwa kikura, watakao kuwa na haki ya kupiga kura pale katika bunge la seneti na kuweza kufanya maamuzi ya kuhusu mambo ya county government zetu pale mashinani. Mheshimiwa Rais, tunajua hapo awali tulikuwa na wale kina mama 47 katika National Assembly. Lakini sasa hivi katika ripoti ya BBI tunaona kuna formula nyingine ambazo zinazungumziwa ili kuona ya kwamba tutaweza kuhakikisha ile sheria ya thuluthi mbili ya jinsia itaweza kupatikana. Tunaomba sana wale wataalamu, wale tunawaita experts, waweze kuweka formula ambayo haitaleta tena utata ifikie ya kwamba eti bunge la taifa liweze kuvunjwa. Tunasema ya kwamba Mkenya aisome BBI report. Tusiweze kudanganyika na porojo, tusiweze kushika propaganda. Huno si wakati wa kudharauliana, huno si wakati wa matusi, huno si wakati wa kejeli. Huno ni wakati sisi wa Kenya tuje pamoja, tujizatiti, tuwe kidete, tuweze kufungua ukurasa mwingine wa taifa la Kenya lenye umoja, amani, ufanisi na maendeleo katika nyanja zetu. Jamani, mwenzako anaposema mimi naipinga katiba, muite karibu, mzungumzie, mpe ushauri, aielewe kinagaubaga, ndiposa tuweze kufanya maamuzi. Na mimi kwa yale mengi yamezungumziwa ambayo tumeyapata, si elimu, si universal health, si mambo ya mashamba, si mambo ya kilimo. Jamani, tusikose mwana na maji ya moto, tushikane kidete kimoja kama wa Kenya, tuhakikishe tuna ukurasa mwingine. Wakati wa siasa ukija, tuwe kama wenzetu majirani wa Tanzania, tunapiga kura na tunafanya uwiano na tunakuwa na mapenzi. Twakupenda sana Mheshimiwa Rais, twakupenda sana Mheshimiwa Raila, kwa sababu umetuenzi sisi kama kina mama. Endelea kutuenzi, uache urithi wako ama legacy yako iwe itazungumziwa na vizazi vijavyo kuhusiana na uongozi wa kina mama, vijana na walemavu. Asanteni.
Your Excellency, the President of Kenya, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Your Excellency, elections such as ours in previous years have always come out with an aspect of winner takes all, where some Kenyans end up laughing all the way to the bank as others laugh all the way to the toilet. Your Excellency, we are particularly happy with the handshake that happened between you and the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga on March 2018. That for some of us came as a shock, but we were quickly very happy about it, because as a result of it, the country that is Kenya has started to be in the process of ensuring that we are no longer polarized. Your Excellency, as the women of Kenya, we are particularly very happy with the BBI. Wamama tumefurahi ama tujafurahi? Tumefurahi ama tujafurahi? We are happy, Your Excellency, because in particular when I talk about the Senate, where now we will have our women being able to vote, and now we even want to have the formula coming back so that the women of Kenya in the Senate can actually vote for a higher percentage for water, and they can vote for a higher percentage for women empowerment at the county level. Your Excellency, we are happy with the Youth Commission, that we must say right now that we want it to be explicit, leaving no room for maneuvers and variances. Your Excellency, as a member of County Assembly from the County Assembly of Nyamira, we are particularly happy with the 35% that is coming to the devolution. We are also happy with 5% for ward development, because this has been a thorny issue for many members of county assemblies for a very long time. At least now we are able to ensure that Article 35 is taken care of. Sisi kama ma MCA tunangoja the next process na tutacheza kama sisi. Your Excellency, as a young Kenyan, I recall that one day on the 25th of July 2019, together with 4 other young ladies, you gave us a platform as presidential candidates in a reality TV. And because of that platform, Your Excellency, I want to assure you that together with other like-minded young Kenyans, we are starting a Baraza la Vijana forums to enable our young people have discussions on the BBI report so that we can make informed decisions. Your Excellency, as I conclude, I'd like to say, as the mothers of this country, We will nurture the BBI reports like a baby. We ask the fathers to join us so that 50 years from now, our children and our children's children can celebrate the BBI 50th birthday. And speaking of birthdays, Your Excellency, on behalf of the women of Kenya, I'd like to wish you a happy birthday. May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord bless our nation of Kenya, and may the good bless all of you. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Rais Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, Your Excellency, Mheshimiwa former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, Mheshimiwa Deputy President, mabibi na mabwana, hamjambo. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Let me just say I have been invited here to speak on behalf of women, but I also speak on behalf of Kenyans. And to say that today is a great day. 10 years ago, we met in this very same place and we promulgated a new constitution. We said then that we will continue to make any amendments that are necessary. 10 years after, we have reflected, we have seen some of the things that needs to be changed, and we are here to change them. And we are going to change them so that we can get everybody included in the running affairs of this nation. We do not want anybody to be left behind. Therefore, Your Excellency and the former Prime Minister, thank you so much for coming together in a timely way, shook hands, agreed, and we put every Kenya to be part of this. I would like to say, Your Excellency, from where I'm sitting as the governor of Kitui County, first and foremost, I really say thank you that in this constitution, we are going to have extra resources that will go mashinani. And that is what a lot of people have been advocating. We have been getting 15%. Now we are talking about 35%. Surely 35% will get Kenyans out of ufukara, will get Kenyans out of maskini, and these are the things that we have all been fighting for since independence 57 years ago. Today is the time for we leaders to appreciate with the more resources on the ground. Using those resources well, for sure Kenya will start growing. And for the leadership to understand that if we use the resources well, we can now actually implement our Big Four agenda, ensuring that every Kenyan has food, ensuring that we can get universal health care, ensuring that we can manufacture, and the leadership to sell our goods, both in the country and outside the country. Small handouts. Small handouts coming from leaders, it has no place in this country. Let us get every Kenyan working for what they believe we believe in. Your Excellency, having said that, first and foremost, I also want to insist that these resources might make sure that Kenyans get better health care, that women can get water into their kitchens, that we can have food on the table. For me, that is the basic needs that we have fought for many years. Your Excellency, National Assembly issue of two-third gender rule has not been addressed in this proposed constitution. Remember, there is a serious threat of Chief Justice Maraga that we must have the two-third gender rule.
And when they say that, it is not others, it is we women who are targeted. Your Excellency, the 7 depositions that will be given to the National Assembly, then put it there that they will all of them go to women. All of them, without exception. Your Excellency, you know, I wear 2 hats. I'm a party leader, and I'm also a woman, and I'm a governor, and the only one governor you didn't even call. So let me take 3 minutes. Your Excellency, finally, the executive is very silent. We know those positions up there, it is easy and we know it can happen. That watu wakae pahali, now they will do always what they do. We want those 5 positions to ensure there is a 2/3 gender rule applied. Your Excellency, it is said and it must be said all the time. Where 2 or 3 are gathered to make policy decisions, there's got to be gender rule applied. I want to thank you. God bless Kenya. Tuingie mashinani, tuuze hii katiba. Hii katiba ni lazima ipite. Asante sana. God bless you.
Asante sana Governor. Atakayetoa maoni yake sasa ni Ashura Michael na atasaidiwa na mtafsiri Flora Atieno.
His Excellency, Honorable President Uhuru Kenyatta, His Right Honorable Raila Odinga, our Deputy President, Honorable Ruto, all protocol observed. I'm pleased to be here to witness the milestone that we've been waiting for a long time. I appreciate on behalf of my community, which is the deaf community. BBI is not about Honorable Raila and my President Uhuru. BBI is about me and you. It's to promote diversity in our nation. BBI is going to unite us. We have persons with disabilities, we have the women, we have youth. We've been all enacted into the BBI. My name is Ashura Michael, a graduate of Nairobi University and taking law in the same university. This BBI is to change our lives for the better, to change our life for all of us to live as we want. I appreciate you, and I would like to ask everyone to read this document. Read keenly. Don't let anyone read for you. Thank you for the good work that you're doing. As persons with disabilities, we have benefited in the BBI. Article 54(2) of the Constitution, I'm happy that the word progressive have been removed, and it will make sure that persons with disabilities access different positions. We have the disability bill that has been in the National Assembly for a long time, awaiting debate. It will make sure it's implemented within 2 years. We have the Kenya policy on guide and unity to diversity. It's going to make sure that our positions are not lost in this document. Right now, 17 counties don't have representative of persons with disabilities, but I'm sure with the BBI, we are going to be represented in all the counties. I'd like to encourage my brothers and sisters to go through the document. The aspiring governors, I'd like to encourage you to kindly appoint persons with disabilities to be your deputies. Don't listen from anyone. Don't listen to anyone. Kindly take your time to read this document, and I believe it's going to change your mind. Na nikimalizia, mtukufu Rais, I'd like to thank you so much for uniting us, making our country best to develop for our children. Thank you for improving our economy. Finally, Mheshimiwa Rais, recently you went to Kisumu na nikasikia ukisema unatafuta mpango wa kando. Najua mama alikubali. Babangu Raila yuko hapa, ako tayari kuchukua mahari, na ndugu yangu hapa Deputy President akikubali atakuwa best man. Sasa na mama wa taifa tutaendelea kubuild bridges pamoja. Na sasa mtoto wa BBI atazaliwa. Asanteni sana.
Tumpungie mkono hewani, tumpungie mkono hewani. Asante. Asante sana. Kwa niaba ya wafanya biashara hapa nchini, asante. Asante. Kwa niaba ya wafanyabiashara hapa nchini, Nick Nesbitt wa KEPSA, Mike Raba na Richard Muteti wataongea kwa kifupi. Karibuni. Nick, we strictly 3 minutes kindly so that we are able to move the program. Na wakati anakuja nitakumbusha wale wote ambao wataongea, tulikubaliana kwa heshima dakika 3. Asante.
Thank you. Your Excellency, good morning, happy birthday on behalf of the private sector and everybody. Right Honourable Raila Odinga, Deputy President, Honourable William Ruto, distinguished guests, all protocols observed. Good morning, everybody. My name is Nick Nesbitt and I'm Chairman of KEPSA, the Private Sector Alliance, but I'm standing here not really to talk perhaps only on behalf of private sector, but also to talk on behalf of the multi-sectoral forum. This is an organization or a group of organizations from the religious, the civil society, the media, professionals, youth, women groups that all came together at the end of 2018 to talk about the ills of our country and the positives of our country. And we came together and presented a report to the BBI to address what we thought would help move the country forward. And we're very happy and pleased, Your Excellency, to read many of our recommendations and see that they have been included in the BBI report. And for that, to the BBI team, I say asanteni and thank you very much. So my comments are, I hope to be very brief here, but what I want to talk about is how do we create an inclusive economy? And I'm coming from the private sector, the economy side. How do we make sure it's fair and equitable, that youth, women, and even the elderly can participate? How do we make sure that this is a country that improves its competitiveness so that the SMEs in Kenya can expand in the region and expand in the world? And to do that, we have a few points. One of them is we must adopt an ethos of self-regulation. We talk about it as Nyumba Kumi, but we must all become our brother and sisters keepers. That means as professionals, that means as people in the wards at all levels, we must bring honesty and integrity to our work, and we must call out people who are not doing the same. We must ensure that in this inclusive economy, we can ensure that all the people who want to participate in programs, in projects, in companies, in tenders, can do that safely and they can be certain to win. This issue of hii tender ni ya hawa must stop. We must ensure that young people and women can win fair and square. We must build an export-led economy. We must ensure that everything that we do in terms of the money that we raise as companies and the taxes that we pay is put to good use. We must ensure the public is engaged in all sectors of the economy, and we reach out to everybody and ensure that we can move forward together. So with those few words, I just want to say thank you that our report was included. We as business people always do handshakes. We thank you for your handshakes, and we like the whole concept of shaking hands. However, the pandemic has made it a little more difficult. So we give a fist bump to everybody, and we wish us all a very good day. And thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President, Your Excellency, Deputy President, Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Good. My name is Michael Rabal. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the SME sector. I'm the founder of a group of companies called the Homeboys Entertainment Group of Companies. We're in the business of entertainment, sports, media, and broadcasting. Homeboys was founded 20 years ago while I was in university. I began my business by selling cassettes to matatus. In our past 20 years of existence, the company has now grown to employ over 200 young people whose livelihoods fully depend on the growth and sustenance of the entertainment industry. Your Excellency, it's not been easy building and sustaining the business under the current prevailing environment, especially being in the Juakali sector. However, with commitment, perseverance, and hard work, we have soldiered on and have been very successful in expanding the business as we continue creating employment opportunities for young people. Despite the challenges, Your Excellency, we are, however, proud to state today that by the end of this year, we shall be listing in the NSE, the first of its kind. This, indeed, Your Excellency, is a milestone and will be a first for business like ours in the Juakali sector. This goes to show to my fellow entrepreneurs, with hard work, vision, commitment, and an enabling environment, I repeat the terms, enabling environment, our dreams can come true. So, Your Excellency, what does BBI mean for small businesses? As for the document, its first aim is to reduce the hurdles of setting up small businesses. The cost of doing business shall be reduced, the bureaucracy of getting paperwork shall be reduced as well, and this shall encourage businesses in the smallest sector to thrive. Secondly, it aims to give youth-owned enterprises a 7-year tax break. That is music to our ears. 7-year tax break, meaning small businesses can now set up and pay taxes 7 years once they establish themselves. I think for us, had this been happened a few years ago, it would have been much, much bigger than we are right now. Thirdly, it aims to set up business incubation centers across the country for the purposes of providing access to finance, advice, mentorship, and access to market and to government contracts. These are resources we never had as we set up our business 20 years ago. So this again is a big positive that BBI brings to the table. Again, having been a university student, I know what it means to have to pay your HELB loan immediately you get your first job. The BBI proposes to give us a 4-year moratorium, a grace period in which to settle down, start our businesses, then begin paying our loans. That again, a big plus for those who've just come out of university. Again, BBI aims to increase the county shareable revenue from 15% to 35%. That means that there shall be a lot of business opportunities for young people right in the county level. No need to rush to the city to get these jobs. All right? It also aims to create a fund at the ward where 5% of all revenue county receives, 5% gets to the county at the ward level. Meaning there will be enhanced business opportunities for young people in the local wards. And lastly, it supports the setup of affordable and reliable access to digital platforms and villages. This will promote e-commerce at all sectors. Anybody with products in the village can then access the market both locally and internationally. I think, Your Excellency, this will be a big positive boost for businesses in the country. Your Excellency, as we build bridges, the BBI will also help build businesses. I think the second issue with businesses is well, not beyond bridges. So building bridges, building businesses initiative. Thank you very much, and may God bless you. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, ladies and gentlemen, Amjambo. My name is Richard Muteti. I'm representing the National Federation of Juakali Associations and the National Coalition of Informal Sector Coalition on Business Continuity. Your Excellency, I'm happy today to inform you that among the crowds, among the hundreds of people here, is the National Chairman of Kenya National Hawkers Association, Makofi kwa Hawkers, and the National Chairman of the Kenya National Federation of Juakali Associations. Your Excellency, we also have the National Chairman of the Nduthi Sector, United Border Associations. I have just a few points today. Your Excellency, the informal economic sector is the biggest single employer in this country. It employs more than 16.4 million people who put their food on the table. And the informal economic sector has been the biggest victim of politicians. They are the people who vote, and they are the people who fight. They are the people who manufacture the jembes and the arrows you see. And they are the people who are confused. For the first time in this document, the SMEs or MSMEs are recognized officially by this document. It has never been recognized in this country. Your Excellency, a few points that are making us support this document, namely, the Constitution. The people talk about Kenya, the importance of the SME sector, but they have never constituted them officially and mainstreamed them. This document is mainstreaming the MSME sector into the Constitution. That's a very big plus for us. Your Excellency, MSMEs do business. The government is the biggest purchaser. Your Excellency, when our people are not paid on time, they die. Because they have nothing, they have no money to sustain themselves as the big boys. So if you give our people business and you take more than 2 months, that's why, Your Excellency, most of our people work with medicine in their pocket. But I'm happy to inform you today that this document talks about the prompt payment bill, whereby now it will be mandatory for our people to be paid on time. They will not be begging. And this is going to create employment, is going to create jobs, and is going to give hope to millions of Kenyans in this country. Your Excellency, we are talking about in this document the business incubation centers that we are sector in this country, people think that it is not organized. We have an elaborate structure in this country. We have an elaborate structure in the region. I am the head of the Secretariat of the Informal Sector in the East African region, and one of the messages they have for this country is that they are waiting for this BBI to pass, empower our MSCs, and then they encourage their countries also to have a BBI. Thank you very much.
Naomba uniruhusu Mheshimiwa Rais niwaite sasa Askofu David Ogide na Ibrahim Ridhome waongee kwa niaba ya viongozi wa kidini. Bishop na Ibrahim, karibuni. And I will still remind all of us who are speaking that we kindly stick to the 3 minutes kindly. Thank you.
Your Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, Your Excellency Deputy President and Right Honorable Prime Minister, we are delighted to be here this day.
Thank you very much for watching Punchline Africa television, broadcasting all the way from the Bomas of Kenya, outside the Bomas of Kenya, where we are right now. Although I got a ticket to go in, I have my card number 0004, which is very good for me. I want to make it very clear that I decided to talk to the public worldwide. I decided to talk to the people of Kenya. I decided to say, let me stay outside and do my work, because the seed of redemption is grown. 13 years ago, I was with this seed in my mouth. I started talking about redemption strategy 13 years ago, 2007. Immediately when I saw the clouds, people being arrested with pangas at roadblocks, people being saying matusi mengi, I said there is something that we have done in Uganda that needs to be done in Kenya. The Ugandan war took 22 years to resolve. But when we came with brains and mouths and our ideas, I and the President Yoweri Gakuta Museveni and the others, African Union, European Union, United Nations, gave us support to finish the war. And that war is over. Today I'm humbled that I shook my hand for the first time to President Museveni in 2008. From 1981, we hunted each other. It is not a simple hunt of knocking doors in hotels. It was a real battle in the field, in the bushes. In the bushes from Ruwelo Triangle up to 2008. This is not 1986, 1981, when the guy disappeared. My troubles began, my life began, the chase against my brother that we had been fighting together in Tanzania alongside to liberate Uganda from the hands of Idi Amin. My colleagues on the panel and the listeners, my struggle ended up in handshake. It's a simple handshake. This handshake is very important. From the time I shook Museveni's hand, a new leaf began. A new leaf of a new Uganda. A new Uganda started building itself. A new Uganda is what you see. There might be difficulties of democratic deficit. That is not for me now. It's for other people to fight, to talk, to engage, to create conditions for that democratic deficit to be over. But as far as the war and the peace is concerned, Miriam, believe me or not, I delivered my people. My people of northern Uganda became a people again. The dignity of the Luo community was preserved. I am from the Bantu southern part of Uganda. I stood out alone single-handedly I told the world on CNN, BBC, ITN, that one tribe in Uganda, one ethnic tribe is being wiped out. It is being wiped out. There is a genocide. I was hated. I was called names. But today, Uganda is peaceful. It might not have all the qualities of democracy, but it has qualities of constitutionalism. That it has one president, vice president, one prime minister, and two deputy prime ministers, and the ministers chosen from cabinet. Doesn't it make any Kenyan happy on the panel that the model that you are adapting today from that same country? He said it is. Uganda has a president, a deputy president, a prime minister, and two deputy prime ministers. And that is a good sign. They listen power. There's no power struggle. They work efficiently. President can now run around on other missions to check on what is going on. But the prime minister, they can summon the cabinet. They can sit down in the parliament. The answers are being given. That's a very good thing for the BBI of Kenya. Around East Africa, when you look at Tanzania, the same. One president, two vice presidents, a prime minister, and the ministers. You look at Rwanda, the same. One president, prime minister, ministers. You look at DRC Congo, the president, prime minister, functioning, and other deputy prime ministers. It is one of the formats that we call hybrid that can bring about changes. So thank you very much. Those are my comments. We want to open what exactly, especially the youth on the panel. I can see Kanu, who is Moses, a lawyer. Thank you very much. Welcome. Miriam, what is it that came out? Women, it is coming out slowly. It is very good. The mood is so good, especially for me. When it came to Madame Pendo, Pendo struck me, Mrs. Pendo. She has forgotten, she has forgiven. That is the spirit. Some of us have lost. I've lost my father, my wife. But when I meet the tormentors, I am happy, man. I'm smiling. Time has healed, has made me heal. But the nation has to grow. I was left with 4 children who asked me, where is our mother? But here we are. Today, they remember, they say, oh, yes, that he was there for us. And the nation of Uganda goes on. So thank you very much. We can make a few comments, then return to the main menu. We don't want to miss anything, especially when Mr. Ruto is about to speak. We are more interested in hearing what he will say. If I were him, technically on this one, and reading from the mood now, I will technically keep quiet and call upon Mr. President to come and address the audience. Then go and solve this problem with the president. I don't see if there is, and listen, don't quote me wrong. If there is any introduction of a new thing in this hall today, that his people are going to be very friendly. So over to you, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. There, we had been watching the live events happening right now at the Bomas of Kenya, where President Uhuru Kenyatta is leading the nation as he receives the second draft of the BBI report today. And also today happens to be President Uhuru Kenyatta's birthday. He is celebrating 59 years, born in 1961. So I think that is a very befitting birthday for him, knowing that, as he said the other day, that, the handshake really is the one thing that has given him a lot of peace of mind. So that is something that is quite important for him. And it is through the handshake that the BBI process was born. And today he's receiving, of course, a lot of things have come out, and something that the BBI seeks to deal with or to find a solution for is the post-election violence, the elections we see around our electioneering period here that really has cost a lot of Kenyans their lives, their property, and all that. And to drive that point home, I think it was very befitting for, the committee or the organizers of that event to bring these two families that have been affected. And one of them, and I think Baby Pendo, we all know what happened. I think the whole country was very sad over what happened there, the child that died there. And we saw the mother and the father come out and say, you know what? It was painful, we have forgotten, but let our child be the last person to suffer from a post-election violence. And also that other Kenyan who came from, I think in Molo there in Nakuru, who say he has been suffering since 1992 there in Molo, election violence every 5 years. And so he's saying if this BBI can find a solution to that perennial violence, then BBI is the way to go. I'm meant to understand we have Moses, who is a lawyer. Moses, good morning, good afternoon. All right, as Moses joins Daniel Wesonga.
Yes, very, very good morning.
All right, so what do you make of the importance of the emphasis when you saw Mama Baby Pendo there and Baba Baby Pendo there come out and give their account and what perhaps they would like to see in the future Kenya? Wesonga.
Yes, thank you, Miriam. And as I was saying, as a nation, we've always held a notion that there can never be peace and unity unless we are able to reconcile with the past. And for a matter of fact, this past we are talking about is a past of violence, a past of atrocities, a past of tribal and ethnic tension that has pre-existed since 1992 over divisive and bungled elections. And I think BBI seeks to address this issue of divisive elections and bringing on board the family of Baby Pendo and that family of from Molo really gives Kenyans a time to reflect back on the ugly events that have always punctuated our electoral system. And therefore, there is need for each and every one of us who values the unity of this country to fully put their unwavering support behind this document. And that has served as a very good reminder on this very, very occasion when we are launching the BBI report. It clearly puts us on the path of our own reality and a path also to define our future as a people.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Professor Daniel there has spoken about a reconciliation, how we can reconcile our past and see how we can charter a future forward, a brighter Kenya in the coming days. Will the BBI help us in that reconciliation? All right, Moses.
Sorry, Miriam, it's Kidi.
Oh, it's Kidi. Oh, sorry, I did not know that. Kidi, good morning.
It's Moses Kidi.
Good afternoon. Oh, it's Moses Kidi. All right. So, Kidi, if you can hear me.
Let's cross over to Atwoli. I don't know how they will cross over. Mm-hmm. Kidi, before you speak, Atwoli is speaking. We want to hear.
Motor mechanics, wale makanika wa siku hizo, mechanics wa siku hizo ambao walijifunza hiyo kazi, ukiwapatia gari la sasa ambalo na automatic computerized, hawawezi kuendesha. When I was growing, I was trained as a telephone technician. Simu za kisasa siwezi kutengeneza. People are talking of digital economy, blue economy, smart economy. Tusielekeze watoto wetu kwa mambo ya zamani. The world is changing fast and we need. Na tunapeleka watoto kwa shule, na unataka mtoto yako akitoka kwa shule afunge tai. Yes. Rais, hii document nataka kuambia pamoja ukiwa na ndugu yako, musitishwe. Leteni tuende kwa referendum. We are the majority. We are the people. We are there. We will get it. Usubuhi saina itakuwa imepita. Musitishwe. Kenyans wasitishwe. Tunataka amani. My shop steward 2008 January in Naivasha alikufa akiongea na mimi because of tribal clashes. We don't want to go there. Na tusitishwe sisi. Tusitishwe.
Asante sana. Naomba Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa ruhusa yako niwaite sasa Reverend Dr. Samuel Kobia wa NCIC na Bwana Degwa Wahome aliye mwenyekiti wa County Assemblies Forum.
Your Excellency, the President, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, Your Excellency, I want to wish you a happy birthday, and may God continue to richly bless you with good health now and in the days coming. I am thankful for the opportunity to speak during such an important milestone in our collective quest to refine the way society is organized and governed. Building a just, peaceful, and cohesive society is an indispensable pillar of this quest. And given that most of the issues in the Building Bridges agenda touch directly or indirectly on our mandate, we as the National Cohesion and Integration Commission have maintained a keen interest in the BBI process. After all, we are the ones who will be expected to spearhead the implementation of a good number of its recommendations in the days and years ahead. Your Excellency, we all recall the highly polarized and tense state of our nation prior to the handshake. But since then, peace and tranquility has prevailed, and the Kenyans have been able to integrate freely across the Republic, which also has enhanced integration. It is against this backdrop that we should look at today's launch of the BBI report. The BBI report is being launched at a time when we are grappling with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has exposed our class, ethnic, and regional inequalities that have long driven political polarization and fanned conflict in our country. The pandemic has also amplified fragilities in our health and education systems. The BBI recommendations should therefore act as a stimulus to invest in systems to promote prosperity for all, ones that will build a cohesive and peaceful society. My hope is that after we flatten the COVID-19 curve, Our national revenge on the pandemic will be also to flatten the gaps in our societies, so that there will be no us versus them, a dichotomy that, if not well considered, could easily lead us the Rwanda way, a way we don't want it to go. Whereas the BBI has the potential to transform our country by resolving many of the underlying issues that lead us into cyclical bouts of electoral unrest, no amount of legislation will take us from a nation of blind ties to a nation of ideals. For this, we, and in particular our leaders, must bring to life the national values as expressed in our Constitution. The evolution of a national ethos essential to our national ideals is critical to the consolidation of our democratic gains and to our quest to build a peaceful, just, cohesive, and prosperous society. In conclusion, I wish to confirm, Your Excellency, that NCIC will continue working to ensure the process is peaceful, leading to a transformation of our political culture and the infusion of healthy values and in uplifting national ethos into the lives of all Kenyans. Thank you, and may God bless Kenya.
Yes, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, Your Excellency, the Deputy President and the Right Honorable Prime Minister, all protocols observed, good afternoon. Yes, my name is Dego Wahome. I am the Speaker for Nyandarua and the Chairman of the County Assemblies Forum. Hiyo ni mabunge yote 47 ya Jamhuri ya Kenya. And to start with, I would wish to quickly introduce the members, Your Excellency, who are here. Can we have the speakers upstanding? The speakers of the county assemblies of this country, kindly. Very well, thank you very much. The deputy speakers, you make it fast. Yes, deputy speakers, you can wave. The majority leaders. Okay, and then all the MCAs from across the country. Can you kindly be upstanding? Asante sana. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, we would have been more than this, but due to the limitations of COVID, we are only to get a few of us so that we would be able to fit here and be part of the history of this country. Your Excellency, as the county assemblies of this country, we have listened to you very carefully. And we have also, in the preliminary, looked at this document that is the BBI. And what we can say at outright, even before we make an assurance to you that actually we are going the 2,287 MCAs in this country, that we commit that we are going to look into this document and we are going to read it ourselves. Secondly is that we are going to ensure, as the leaders who operate at the village level, that this document reaches Wajiko and that Wajiko is able to understand it, is able to appreciate it, is able to own it, and therefore make the right decision on it. But as I've said at the preliminary stage, is that we are very happy and appreciate with the 35% of the vertical sharing of revenue that will be coming to the counties. That one is actually strengthening devolution and securing devolution. And with those kind of resources, Your Excellency, coming to the counties, we are assured that there will be no commotion at the national level for leadership at the national level. Everybody will follow resources at the counties to be able to work for our people at the grassroots. Secondly is that we thank you for the establishment of County Assemblies Fund. This will ensure that the billions that will come to the counties, that the assemblies are now will be independent financially and will be able to take care of this money to ensure that it serves the purpose for which it was brought to the counties. Your Excellency, we also thank you and we appreciate this report for the reasons that the concept of World Development Fund has been incorporated in this document. And with the World Development Fund, it will be ensured that there is equitable distribution of development programs across the counties. But this will be a point of discussion, and we know that the steering committee and those concerned will listen to us so that this amount goes to at least even 50% of all the funds. Your Excellency, the President, is that as the assemblies of this country, we have said we have only looked at these documents at the preliminary, and we can already see good things. We can see good tidings on this document, and I know we are going to bring a positive report on this document. Asante sana.
Asante sana.